Hello, my name is Connor Teems, and I'm here to present my poster presentation on teachers' perceptions on the effectiveness of using technology in the classroom setting. Up first, I'll start with my introduction. In my introduction, I synthesize research articles in order to present my problem and the purpose of this study. The problem that I was identifying here is that negative perceptions by educators on implementing technology in the classroom create a major problem when it comes time to implement the technology in the classroom. This is reflected in a 2016 study performed by Badre Mohammed Noor Eldal, and you can see that on the right side of the screen as well as in here in the introduction. My problem statement was grounded in the literature. Um, from here, I synthesized many different articles. I believe it was in total seven. It was seven in total. Hill and Valdez, Eldadu, DeVries, Aites, Verberg, Ursavez, Zaman, Hussein, and Ghaffar. You can see I have some of the references down here in the bottom right. Up in my introduction, I talk about what brought my eye to this. I've noticed that I was raised by educators, and being raised by educators and going through the K through 12 system and now teaching in it, I noticed how drastically technology has changed. Back when my mom and dad started 35 years ago, they might be lucky if there was 10 to 12 computers in an entire school. And now the way we're going with school, students have distance learning options. Every student in the school has a computer. Teachers like my parents who have been teaching for 35 years may have been teaching this entire time and gotten no training to use technology in the classroom, and then they were expected to use technology in the classroom. And through different studies that I read over and analyzed, I noticed that teachers were resistant to technology when they felt that it contributed to a lack of control in their classrooms. Students with free time and they can use it to get on a device and get anywhere they want. That causes distractions in the room. That is reciprocated in a study by Verberg and Platt. These are things that with more training and more familiarity, that they're barricades that teachers can maybe find their way around. Now, in all the research that I had synthesized here in the introduction, I did notice some problems with some of them. One of the major problems being that most of them were either very positive or very negative. None of them ever looked at the differences between the positive and the negative reactions to technologies. I did notice some common threads, usually in the negative reactions. It was more rural areas with less resources, less staff available to help train them to use these technologies. I also noticed that the teachers that seemed to like technology more also tended to be younger. So with those problems and with the problems with the previous research there, that brings me to the research questions I wanted. Before I get to the research questions, actually, let's jump over to the purpose statement and significance of the study. I grounded the purpose statement and the significance in the introduction as well. But in our meeting that we had to go over and pick a final research presentation, I was told I needed to have it in its own section. So I left it with the literature to show where my problem and purpose and significance were grounded in the literature, but I also gave them their own section as well below the introduction. So for the purpose of our study, it is to determine what percentage of educators are confident in their approach towards incorporating technology in the classroom setting. This study will then go a step further to determine why teachers might have positive or negative perceptions on the use of technology and what barriers still stand in the way of teachers feeling confident when it comes to the task of implementing the use of technology. By looking at both positive and negative reactions, maybe we can figure out what is causing the negative reactions, what is causing the positive reactions, and where's the bridge we can build to get those that have negative relationships with technology incorporation to have positive relationships with technology incorporation, because it's obvious that the educational landscape is headed that way. The significance of the study. Now, I've already stated the problem. The problem was early in the introduction, the problem statement. And then the significance of this study. The findings of the research analyzed in the introduction show that there is not only a significant need for more quantitative research to be done into what percentage of teachers still feel apprehensive towards the use of technology in the classroom setting, but also qualitative research as to why teachers would feel confident or apprehensive in using technology. Now, another one of the issues that I'd found with others is that they were all quantitative based or all qualitative based. So you might find that all the teachers in this school system hated using technology, but you wouldn't really find out why. So you'd realize there's a problem, but there's no way to solve that problem. My goal with this research proposal is to not only diagnose how significant the problem is, but also possible um, ways to avoid the problem, or at least what is the cause of the problem and what is the cause of the solution. So this will combine quantitative and qualitative research methods. Now that I've stated the purpose and the significance, let's jump over to the bottom left corner of this poster and look at the research questions. First, I want to talk about my quantitative data collection research questions. My first one will be, what is the difference between the perceptions of teachers who view technology in the classroom negatively as opposed to those who view it positively? This gives me a chance to gauge how many teachers are viewing it negatively and how many teachers are viewing it positively. And then what types of technologies do teachers use in the K through 12 setting? Try to figure out, like, what are we using? What is efficient? Maybe we'll see a correlating technology within teachers that have a negative view, and we'll see correlating technologies within teachers that have positive views. You never know. Another thing is qualitative data collection. This is how I'll gather my qualitative data. This question here will be in the interview section after. We'll talk about methodology in just a second. But the question itself is, what causes teachers to have a positive or negative relationship with technology incorporation in the education setting? Now I'd like to jump over to my methodology section. Now that we've done our research questions, here's the methodology for which we will answer those. For the study, we will use a mixed method sequential explanatory design. Mixed methods meaning quantitative and qualitative data will be collected. Sequential explanatory design meaning that we will collect our quantitative data first and then go back and collect our qualitative data. 50 K through 12 teachers will be selected from a single school district in rural Georgia to participate in this study to get a full picture of the perceptions of teachers across varying age levels. Before the study can begin, of course, permissions will be obtained from participating teachers and their administration. To gather qualitative data, a questionnaire consisting of 10 items related to teachers' perceptions and attitudes towards technology integration will be created by the researchers. You can see this all in the visual research design at the bottom. We'll first contact school administration to gather appropriate permission to conduct research on teachers' perceptions of the technology in the district. Then email all teachers to see who is interested in participating in the survey. Once teachers have responded, pick 50 teachers spread evenly amongst different grade levels to try to gauge a wide, broad view. From there, send the questionnaire out to the 50 participants in order to gather quantitative data. When complete, gather all surveys for data analysis. The first item on the questionnaire will ask educators what technologies and online learning materials they use in their classrooms, with a list of common technologies like Google Classroom or others that you just hear a lot, like Zoom, and websites they can check off. The rest of the research questions will be geared towards the understanding their perceptions on their use of their technology. Those questions will be answered on a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being very unsatisfied, 5 being very satisfied and confident. The quantitative data is collected, and it will need to be analyzed in order to begin phase 2 of the explanatory design, which is where we get into our qualitative phase. In phase 2 of the research design, researchers will interview 10 of the teachers to gather qualitative data on what factors might influence their perceptions of technology use in the classroom. The goal here would be to try to get 5 positive and 5 negative responses to technology, and then ask them why, talk about their hurdles or their successes using the technology. After analyzing the data, researchers will select 5 teachers, as I said, that are positive and negative. And this should help. If you look down at the bottom of our visual research design, after we analyze the qualitative data, once complete, contemplate the ramifications of the study and report findings. That really brings me to the end of this poster methods of this poster presentation here. Once again, I do have just two of my references down here. It's all I could really fit, but that is how I did my references. The rest are on the final research paper. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation of my poster. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.